Good morning, children. Welcome to 8th Standard Social Science class. Geography, 3rd unit, Hydrological Cycle. So, children, listen carefully to this session. In case of any doubt, it shall be clarified in the online class. Let's start with the lesson. Water is one of the most important elements on earth, without which life can't exist. Then all plants and animals need water for survival. Not only plants and animals, we human beings also need water for survival. Survival is nothing but to live. Apart from drinking purpose, water is needed for industrial purpose, domestic and agricultural purpose. That is, apart from drinking, water is essential for washing your dishes, cleaning all household works, and agricultural and industrial purpose. So, children, water is very essential for carrying out almost all economic activities. So, every economic activities depends on water. Water is an indispensable element without which life form on the earth is not possible. Indispensable means an unavoidable element. So, water is an unavoidable element on the earth without which life cannot exist. So, these are all the uses of water. Children, now let's see water on the earth. What is the percentage of water present on the planet Earth? So, children, as we all know, Earth is called the blue planet. Why we call Earth as a blue planet means about 71% of the Earth's surface is covered by water. Hence, Earth is called as blue planet. Then, the quantity of water present on the Earth is about 326 million cubic miles. So, children, it is very hard to visualize such a massive quantity of water over the Earth. Hence, Earth is called the blue planet. Most of the water on the Earth is saline and is found in seas and oceans. Saline means salt water. So, most of the water on the Earth is salt water and found in seas and oceans. Now, let's see the percentage of salt water and fresh water. So, the salt water constitutes about 97.2%, whereas the fresh water is about 2.8%. So, that's why we have seen that most of the earth is covered with salt water. The salt water constitutes more that is 97.2%, whereas the fresh water constitutes only 2.8%. So, children, out of this fresh water 2.8%, about 2.2% is available as surface water. So, surface water in the sense lakes, rivers, ponds. So, these all come under the surface water. And children, the remaining 0.6% as groundwater. So, out of 2.8 of fresh water, 2.2% is surface water, 0.6% is groundwater. Then, from this 2.2% of surface water, 2.15% is available in the form of glaciers and ice caps. So, children, we have seen that 2.2% of surface water, then 2.15% is in the form of glaciers and ice caps. In that, 0.01% of water is found in lakes and streams, and the remaining 0.04% is in other forms. Then only about 0.25% of the total groundwater, of which 0.6% can be economically extracted with the present drilling technology. 0.6 can be economically extracted with the present drilling technology. So children, I hope you all are clear with the composition of water on the earth. Water resources are useful or potentially useful to humans. So children, we have seen that water is indispensable element. That is an unavoidable element without which life cannot exist on earth. Now let's see how we are getting water. What are the sources from which water is available on earth? Water is available in the form of precipitation. So the first source is precipitation, and then the second source is surface water. So water is available in the form of surface water, and the third one is the groundwater. So these are all the sources of water. First is precipitation, second is surface water, and the third is groundwater. Now let us see the estimated volume of water on the Earth's surface. This tabular column is provided in your textbook. You can take a look at it. First, they have given oceans, seas, and bays, ice caps, glaciers, and snow, groundwater, soil moisture, ground ice and lakes, atmosphere, swamp waters, rivers, biological water. Then the volume of waters, percentage of total waters. Next, we'll move on to hydrologic cycle or water cycle. We are going to learn the definition of hydrologic cycle and the phases involved in the water cycle. So first, let's see what is hydrology. Hydrology is the science which deals with the various aspects of water such as its occurrence, distribution, movement and properties on the planet Earth. Children, hydro means water. Hydrology is the science which is related with the study of water. Next, the availability of water on the earth is not uniform. Availability of water on the earth is not uniform means in some places there will be more water resources when compared to the other places. So this is the meaning of the sentence availability of water on the earth is not uniform. Because in some places it has very rich water resources. In some places we have very poor water resources. Now let us see the definition of hydrologic cycle. Hydrologic cycle is a global sun-driven process where water is transported from ocean to atmosphere, from atmosphere to land and from land back to oceans. That is, hydrologic cycle is a global sun-driven process where water is transported from ocean to atmosphere, from atmosphere to land in the form of rain, and again it will be drained out in the oceans. So this process or this cycle is called as hydrologic cycle. The water cycle can be considered as a closed system for the earth, as the quantity of water involved in the cycle is invariable, though its distribution varies over space and time. So children, the water cycle is a closed system and the quantity of water involved in the cycle is invariable. So we can't predict the quantity of water involved in the water cycle. So it is called as a closed system. Let's see about evaporation. Evaporation takes place from the surface water. So here the water on the surface get heated up by the sun and it will be evaporated. So it takes place on the surface water. Then about transpiration. What is transpiration? Transpiration takes place in plants. Water from the plants gets evaporated so that it is called transpiration. Transpiration means the water from the plants get evaporated. Water vapor gets condensed at higher altitudes by condensation, nuclei, and form clouds, that is, resulting in droplet growth. The clouds melt and sometimes burst, resulting in precipitation of different forms. So, water on the surface gets evaporated, then it condenses or cools down to form clouds. These clouds melt or sometimes they will burst, resulting in precipitation of different forms. In the sense, it may come as rain or it may come as snow, mist, or fog. These are the different forms of precipitation. A part of water from precipitation flows over the land is called runoff. A part of water from precipitation flows over the land is called runoff. So you have noticed after the rain, the land, that is the surface, will be covered with water. The other part infiltrates into the soil, which builds up the groundwater. Some will be flowing on the surface of the earth, and that is called runoff. And the other part infiltrates into the soil. It can penetrate into the soil. Such water forms groundwater. So some will be on the surface and other infiltrates into the soil, and they constitute the groundwater. Hydrological cycle is a circulation of water. So first the water will get evaporated, then condensed. Again it will return as water in the form of precipitation. So it is a circulation of water. Glacier is a large body of ice moving slowly down a slope. With this, we'll complete today's session. Let's learn the hard words and its meanings. Number 1, hydro, water. The molecular formula for water is H2O. Survival, to live. Indispensable, unavoidable. Visualize, to see. Massive, large. Saline, salt water. Constitute, add up to. Condensed, to cool. Children, that's all for today's class. Thank you and have a great day.